on. Alright, y'all. Hello, it's me. We got another video for you guys today. I'm gonna do like an edited short, so I already made one of the pots, and so I'm gonna edit that, and so I'm only gonna be making 2 this time, even though I'm doing 3 today. You guys are only gonna see the live stream of 2, and then in the video that I'm gonna post on YouTube, I'll add the edited short in that for that first pot that you guys are gonna see at the end. Just want to let you guys know that's what I'm gonna be doing. Don't have the head cam on today. I got the crown on. I got a king in the back here too. He's hyping me up. I forgot to wedge some things, so I gotta wedge some stuff, so it's gonna be a second, but in the meantime, I'll see you guys over there. Green off. Okie dokie. Get my little shoesies on. Get my little shoesies on. Got the clay here. So I had some interesting ideas on what I potentially am going to do for the future setup of this little area down here. I'm not going to really wedge these up too much. This clay is still pretty soft, so I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm kind of throwing today. So the video that I was filming earlier, oh my gosh, that's going to be so epic if I do it justice. I'm trying to dance on the green screen and like film, but I feel like I'm too anxious about my class later, so I can't really embed myself into the dancing. And so I looked kind of like I was flailing around rather than like being part of the music. And so I'm going to just wait to film that until I get back from work tonight. So, alright, so now you guys will see I got one of the... Where's all the tools? Got one of them done now. I hope the sponge is in the drink there. We'll see in a second. A little bit of, set this right on this edge. You know, I've been filling up my, it's not in there. Where is it? Ew, it's in the bucket. It's gonna stink. Yucky. Alright. Let's get some water on here. I'm gonna slowly bring this out to the edge. There we go. Let me get some of this off. There we go. Sweet. Okay. Got this on there. Slowly push down. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna start centering this thing. I gotta scoot in a little bit closer. I gotta empty out my splash pan here pretty soon. So don't let it overpower you. Make sure you keep your hand on there nice and tight. Almost like it's duct taped to the surface of the clay, right? And that's how we're gonna be getting this centered here. Hammer fist comes down. I don't plan on this being a long one because I still need to edit quite a bit. My class starts at 6:30, so I want to try to get some editing done so I'm not up until like 2 in the morning editing. But we'll get that done, yo. A lot of people joining. Camera B. There we go. Opening this up. And so it's not perfectly opened right here. There's still some wobble in it. Got some air bubbles. I got something in here. So I'm gonna just hold this back in. There we go. So I'm getting that top back on center there. Cut off some of that clay that we don't really need. We can just throw that in the bucket. And here we go. Llama pole bites right on that rim. And then very slightly walks his way right up the volcano there. Sweet. Okay, now we're taking our hand. Oh, we got some comments. I'm going to check those out real quick. Alright. On the YouTube, somebody says, nice glass blower myself. Thanks, Josh Schneider. I appreciate it. Center, center, center. Haha, same in glass. Always need to be recentered. Whoa, there's so many people. I've always wanted to try pottery. Looks interesting. I don't know if you can see this, but why do you squish it down instead of throwing it down? I don't know what you mean by squish it down. Like when I'm pushing with my fist down? Dang, you guys are popping off. Chill out, guys. Yeah, okay. I'll explain some of those things. So, yeah, glass blowing, I've always wanted to try it. It's just that with glass blowing, oh, I forgot to turn off my camera. Hold on, I gotta turn off one thing. The clay itself, throwing it on the wheel. I mean, I don't think I really understand the question there, but like when I'm doing this sort of stuff, well, as far as glass blowing goes, first, I like glass blowing. It's just that you need another person, right? To like open the thing or to, like the things that I'd want to do, I think I would need two people for in glass, right? And so I just never thought I could find somebody who would be like is disciplined towards the medium, and I'd rather just be able to do it whenever I want. So just finding that bump, like a slug right up the side of the pot there. And then as far as like why don't I squish it down, I bring that all the way up. It's more of like a theatrical thing, right? But old potters would do that. They call it wheel wedging, and it exposes some of the air bubbles, And so that's why I don't just squish it down and start. Like I always want to do that first. It's almost like stretching out the clay before you go for a run. Dang, you guys, I can't really see the comments from where I'm at right now. So let me finish this poll and I can check it out in a second. Okay, guys? Right at this bottom. Find that bump, and then that's all you're doing. We're going to slow down the wheel, right? And you're just like, really, you're just taking that up, right? You got to remember, you don't want to be the Ferrari with the windows down while you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, right? The clay is talking to you, so you want to listen to it. You want to hear what it has to say. If you're going too fast, you're not going to be able to really understand what it's saying to you, right? And so I always think material's talking to you all the time. And that's why I like ceramics so much, because it's talking through touch. Okay, I'm over here. Blow solo. Dang. Solo glass blower. That's amazing. Love your glaze theory stuff. Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. And then teach me said we have to throw the clay on the wheel to stick it there. Oh, your teacher. Oh, I see what you mean. Like I don't slam it down because I have neighbors. Yeah, I don't slam it down. So I just sort of give it like almost like CPR, right? Like boom, 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 boom to get it stuck. And that's what I do, because if I start smacking stuff down, I don't want to like upset my apartment friends here, All right. Anyway, so here we are, right at this bottom edge. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we go right to the top. We're gonna go, and we're gonna open this up. With the treetop. Hang out a little bit. There you go. And so I've been making a ton of these trees. Right now I'm at 760 of them. I'm getting to 1,000, so I'm getting kind of close, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a little bit longer before I get there, but I just do it every day, and that's all I do, The hardest part is like, the two hardest parts is starting, right? Because starting, it's like, your snowball is really small, so when you start rolling it down the hill, it doesn't have a lot of momentum. The easiest part is when you're in the middle. That's the most fun, right? Because you just have no finish line in sight. And then again, the next hardest part is when you start seeing that finish line, right? Because then it's taking up more mental space in your mental CPU, right? Open a bunch of programs and then try to search the internet at the same time. It's not gonna really be fun, I'll tell you that much, right? And so the same way, you kind of have your own mental bandwidth, and you can't be overloading it. And so I like to keep it my mental bandwidth, pretty unimpeded. There we go. All right, curl these up. And so these are these little tendrils to have on the bottom here. And sometimes these sort of trees, they want to collapse, but I really like the way that this one looks right now, so hopefully it doesn't collapse, at least on this one. Some of them it's okay, but there's something about this one really having a nice contrast right underneath of the trunk, you know, that I think looks really epic. I'm bringing this in, bringing this in, bringing this in. Okay, done with that. We're going right down to the bottom, taking this off. Breathe, open this up here. And so there's tree number 2. We already did tree number 1 before I started here. Yeah, and this one's gonna rip. I can already see a little water hydration fissure. So you guys, it's probably gonna look a little bit different when we get back over to it, just to let you guys know. Okay, I'm gonna go check the comments now. This show comes with good philosophy. Maybe, I appreciate it. That's very nice of you. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm just gonna get right into the second one, or the third one, I guess. So here we are, pushing this on this right here. Wet that wheel, use your little knife. I always like to get, you don't wanna attach the clay on when it's wet, at least on a plastic bat. Old school potters use plaster bats, right, or wood, and so that holds some moisture, right? And so, you know, your clay is gonna like wanna stick to things that are, first, that are also kind of like, that don't accept moisture, right? So plastic, it likes to stick to the plastic because it doesn't accept moisture. But things that do accept moisture, you need to soak them with a little bit of water for them to stick properly, right? But the plaster bats are nice because they're slowly drying out the bottom, so they'll pop right off the wheel really easily, you know, after you let them sort of dry out. But here I am, I'm always imagining that push and that pull, those two lanes of traffic, right? One hand is going forward, one hand is going back, right? And it's always that same exact motion. I'm never trying to push towards center. I'm always trying to push past center, right? And so here we go. Catch it, and then bring that down, okay? And you're gonna get about to here, and you're gonna make sure you have your hand kind of hooked up underneath, and then you're gonna start pushing that weight down. Make sure you don't trap any moisture underneath there. And then again, you can just bring that back up. And then you're gonna push that down with your hammer fist. Don't be afraid to use some of your body weight, right? You don't need to be a bodybuilder to push some clay around. Just use your weight, right? I think a lot of people, you know, when I look at them, their arms are so tight, they're flexing through the whole entire thing when you don't really need to do that. That's all you need to do is just focus where you're setting your body weight, and then the clay will just move, you know? A lot of people try to move way too much clay. Try cutting through the clay, right? So I'll show you this in a second. Imagine this is a layer, like it's 3 layers of cake, right? You want to cut along that bottom layer, and it will just open up really easily with very little pressure. Think it's almost like a water jet cutter, right? Extreme focus of a little bead of water with high pressure can cut through steel and all sorts of things, right? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm, you know, what is it called? When I'm trying to open the clay and manipulate the clay as much as I can. I'm trying to be that bead of water. Anyway, we got our little llama here. What do llamas love? They love biting on the edge of clay, and they also love making volcanoes, right? Is this Star Wars playing right now? That's so epic. Maybe you guys can't hear that. I'll turn this one up a little bit. I feel like this is too epic not to kind of blast. If my neighbors come down and get a little angry at me, I apologize. Anyway, right down to the bottom. Your first couple pulls are really for equalizing that clay, right? You don't really need to get height out of these first 2 pulls. We just want to get it nice and equal before we even start to pull, or for height at least, right? And again, I'm just bringing my little knuckle in there very slowly, and as I'm getting to the thin parts, I'm slowly releasing my pressure. And there you go. See, the volcano always becomes a cylinder. Now we're at the bottom. 2 fingers on the inside, and we're going to ask the clay, hey, clay, buddy. The Star Wars music is epic. You got a mission for me? I'm the new Padawan in town. Master Clay. The Master Jedi of ceramics here. You gotta teach me something here. Always try to learn from your material, right? And we're gonna call this in. You might be like, oh no, it's getting a little wobbly on the bottom. totally okay, because our next pull here, oh, I kind of whacked that top. We're going to even out this clay on the bottom edge, right? Instead of trying to find that bump, we're trying to walk right next to that bump, right? We're not trying to lift that bump up. And that's going to even out all the clay while we get to still preserve the height of the collar, right? Look at that. There you go. Sick. Okay, now, this is my favorite part, is we get to start the veins of the tree here. So I'm going to get some of this water out of the base, because after I do this, it's going to be harder to get to that base. So usually I use way too much water. Everybody always tells me, you use way too much water. Well, I also use hard clay, right? Well, this clay isn't that hard, but usually I use harder clay than this. And so by the time I get to this point, usually I added enough water so it's like how most people would reach it. I like to have that strength, just because when I go for that height, right, it's nice to have it a little bit stiff so I can kind of press on it a little bit more. So here I am, always find that rhythm and just take it, right? And don't, like, if you're nervous, just how you're listening to the clay is listening to you. So you got to invoke your crown energy. Camera A. Camera A. See, I got my crown on. You got to believe that, you're in charge. You got to believe that, like, anything that was to happen with you on this wheel, like, you got to maintain complete composure, right? You can't let it freak you out, because the clay, it's listening. Here, we're going to try something a little bit different here. I'm going to bring this in, and we'll try to collapse this inward here and have this sit right on this edge. It'll look almost like a little UFO. Look at that. Kind of cool. A little double rim there, something. Always try some new stuff out when you get the opportunity. Sometimes you'll be making it, and then all of a sudden this little blip of an idea will be there. Don't let it just fade away. Try to act on those things real quick, just because you might learn something from it, especially when you're interacting with the material. Camera B. And so, right up underneath here, carving this up. A little bit of water right at the bottom. I'm just pulling this little skirt out. And if I'm looking at this one, I don't think we cut this one like we did the other one. We already have two with tendrils, so maybe this one will get the nice little flaps here. So here we go. Find our little rhythm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're gonna take this in, skip one, take this in, skip one, take this in, and we'll make one, because we have 7, so it's not even. There we go. We got something pretty close to what we're asking here from the pot. So now we got these nice little petals. I think these large petals really bring it more into a micro scale, where when I do the tendrils, sometimes if there are a lot of them, it brings it more into the macro scale, right? I'm thinking tree, where right now when I see the petals, I think more of like a single flower. Anyway, so we're gonna set this one here. You know what, actually, we'll have this one on the top. So, camera A. Camera A. I'll see if you guys had anything to say while I'm down here. I know it's so funny, because I tried doing those veins when I was throwing yesterday and I completely butchered it. Yeah, that's okay though, like, it took me a little bit before I could figure it out, right? And I just really think that you just got to keep on going for it, right? Like, I think the biggest problem that people have is when they're working, what they'll do with their hands is they'll try to catch it. They'll be like, oh, I missed it. You just got to keep pushing through it. If you missed it, then just keep on going. Don't stop and try to catch it. You just got to power through those moments until eventually you'll have one that clicks. I call those the butter moments. When you have a butter moment, stop the wheel and try to analyze what you did. When the clay moves as soft as butter, you know you're doing something right. All right, so I'll take the first one. I like the first one that I did when you guys didn't really get to see this one. This is number 1. So this is the one from the video that I'm making. I really like that one quite a bit, actually. It's a little bit larger too than the other ones I did today, so that's gonna be kind of fun to make. I think realistically though, this first one I did on the stream here, This one is just beautiful. That rip didn't totally tear yet, so it still is holding its space up there. So I really like looking at this thing. I mean, look at that, right? I think that one's pretty awesome. Okay, now we're gonna get our little banding wheel in the back here. We gotta get a little box or a red underglaze. Sure, why not, right? And we're gonna have this one hanging out on the top. That does not seem very sturdy. What can we use instead? Maybe this one would work. One of my old cups. I like when I have never used this cup for drinking, but I'm using it to set things on top of. For me, that's kind of funny. Okay, give it a little shimmy shake. It'd sit right on there. Why does it feel like it's still off? There we go. Right in the middle there. Sweet. I think that one's looking great. Okay. This one, I want to just set it in the center a little bit, because if that falls while I'm doing it, it's going to ruin some of the other pots here. We don't want that to happen. Anyway. Awesome job. Thanks so much. Somebody said Huffma said, make me a mug. I'm going to do that one of these times. After this year's up, I'll make some more. Sandra, have you tried tendrils on the top rim? Yo, I actually have. Dang, that one's upstairs. You'll see, maybe you'll see it in, wait, hold on. Here, stick with me in a second. I'll show you them in a second. Hold on. Let me turn this on. And I'm going to do my little outro here. I'll talk about the pots, and I'll show you. Maybe you'll see the one that's in the room with all the pots. I fill rooms with my pots. Anyway, okay. Green on. Green on. There we go. Okay. So if I'm looking at this one right here, guys, I think that this one was the one that I did for the video today. I really like the base of it. I think there's something about this little tight twist at the bottom and then slowly getting looser and opening up towards the top. And I think it could have gone a little bit more intense on this top part here, but I didn't want to risk it. It was for the video, so that's how this one turned out. Next, we got the winner of the day. Look at that. Talk about contrast. Look at the silhouette of the pot. Think about the silhouette. When somebody's looking at it from afar, you really got to think about how does that silhouette look? Does it just look like cylinder? Boop, 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 boop. No, you want that nice little wide base on the bottom, but not as wide as the top, right? And then you got that nice tight twist, right? And then all of a sudden it just banks out and it has this really nice wide top there, a double bump, really giving it that tree aesthetic there. The tendrils on the bottom aren't doing too much, but they're allowing for that top to really speak loudly. Anyway, we got the one on the top. Try to do something a little bit different. It almost looks kind of like a top hat. Nothing too crazy on it. It's just more of an exploration, but you got to have those for you to eventually develop that sort of conversation that you have with your own work, right? I learned that from one of my teachers, and I thought it was a really good thing that he taught me. But anyway, I'll check you guys in the next one. For those who is looking at the tendrils on the rim, see if you can see it in this video, okay? All the best and strong mentality.